So today we're making pasta puttanesca, one of my favorite recipes. The best thing about this recipe is every single ingredient, other than the fresh garlic, is all pantry staples. You don't have to have any fresh vegetables in the house other than the garlic to be able to make this, because a lot of the ingredients, including the capers, some of the tomatoes, the anchovies, the olives, are very, very salty. You want to salt the water very lightly. In most cases, for most pasta recipes, you want to really salt the water a ton to give it that flavor. But because the ingredients are super salty themselves, we're just going to do a little bit, and that's it, so that it doesn't end up too salty. So we just sauteed the garlic. Next, the anchovies go in. Anchovies scare a lot of people. They're actually delicious. They're very salty, so it really pretty much salts the entire dish. So we put in about 6 per pound of pasta, because we've got some big eaters. We're making 2 pounds of pasta, so I put in probably about a dozen anchovy fillets. And what people don't realize is when you cook with anchovies, they really just melt into the sauce. You don't even have like a textural component, and it really just gives like a really savory umami taste. It doesn't really taste very fishy, which is a common misconception. So we're going to get those blended in, and you see, almost you can't even see any like fillets of the fish in there any longer. So we'll get that all melded in, and then we are going to put in a little bit of crushed red pepper. Puttanesca is very well known for being a little spicy. So you want to definitely get enough in there so that it has that signature spice. We're going to put a little bit of black pepper before we put in the tomatoes to start creating the tomato sauce. So quick tip, when you have canned tomatoes, we had whole tomatoes, they're going to break down as they cook. You just want to do a little bit of water, and then just make sure you get all those extra juices to make sure you get all the tomato out of the can easier. So there we go. So capers and olives just went in. So now we've got like all the ingredients in the pot, and what we're looking for is just to start to get a little bit less watery, and we want just like it to get a little more thick before we start adding the pasta and really, get into brass tacks over here. Key theme in many of our Healthy Headhunters recipes is sauces that go from kind of watery, and then you have chunks and water, to melding together and becoming velvety, and the oils and the juices all kind of meld together and become a sauce instead of just liquid and solids. We're starting to get there. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the pasta in, so that while the pasta cooks for probably about 10-12 minutes, this will keep cooking down, get a little creamier, and then I have a tip for you once we get the pasta water to get the starches removed. So this is counterintuitive. When you have a sauce that's a little more watery than you want it, you actually put in 1 scoop of pasta water that has some of the starch in, and it actually allows the sauce to thicken, because that starch will allow the sauce to start binding and to start kind of melding between the oils and the liquid. So counterintuitive, when you want a thicker sauce, put some pasta water in. It will thicken it up and give it a much better texture. Just tasted 1 strand. It is al dente. So now it goes in, and we do not rinse. Do you want to know why we don't rinse? We do not rinse so that all the starches continue to cling to the pasta, and that is how the pasta will get coated in sauce, by having those starches attached. If you drain and run under cold or warm water, it will actually cause the pasta to lose all the starch that's on the outside. And that's when you get sauce around pasta as opposed to kind of melded into the pasta and cooked in and flavorful. So never rinse your pasta before sending it into the sauce.
So I'm very impressed with this. This is probably my favorite meal to date. It's an easy 9-3. Just extremely flavorful with the olives, the capers, the tomatoes, and like you wouldn't even expect there to be anchovies in here. Very impressed. So yeah, hats off to Norm for this one.
All right. I am a big fan of this pasta punta cana. It tastes delicious. I am not the biggest pasta guy per se, but just the combination of the tomatoes and the capers, the pasta's cooked really well. I would go a 8-9.
Let's dig in. Wow, this is Norm's best dish yet. I'm going to go 9.4.
All right, so this is one of my favorite recipes. What I love about it is other than the fresh garlic, everything's a pantry staple item. So you can make it after coming home from vacation and you have nothing in the fridge. I made this dozens of times. This is a good batch. Could be a little bit thicker sauce, but flavor's good. I like the balance. Happy with it. I'll give it an 8.5.